this is really kind of the synopsis of really the journey that really took me to get to this point. I believe that most men want to grow into the right type of man that, in my case, that God wants them to be. And my journey took a whole bunch of twists and turns and really trying to discover myself. I believe that God had designed and appointed to me of where I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to be doing, and really it was my responsibility to try to catch up to really where God already had assigned me to be. And so I had a reasonable good balance in coming up. So I always had at least a reasonable foundation of really where I should try to be. But ultimately, I was a boy's boy, and trying to, really be the best I could be in athletics, and in this case, basketball was really kind of the driving force for me. Within the first couple years of me being in college, I ended up having a child, doing some things I shouldn't have been doing in regards to my body and my mind and what I was putting in it and what I was thinking. And then having a child, I was barely probably 21 or 22 years old when I had my daughter. And at the time, it really it crushed me. It crushed me in an aspect of where I thought I was going to go, right? I had an idea of I'm going to go to college, I'm going to go to the NBA, or at least be playing overseas. And when my daughter came into the world, that really crushed what my thoughts were and where I wanted to go and what I thought I should be doing. Probably about 3 to 4 years later, I'm at the stage of this is my life and next steps, what I want to do and where I saw myself, able to get the career, able to raise my daughter. I want to get married. I personally made that choice of hey, this is something I want to do for the next stage in my life. So I got married, and it was really something I was actually excited about it, because I thought, this is kind of the next evolution of who I am, and didn't really put a lot of thought into partnership, what that looked like. And shame on me for not doing that, because as a man, as a husband, that's something you should know and do before you actually get with someone. And I didn't do that. Was married for about 6 years. When I say about 6 years of separation, and that I ultimately got a divorce out of that, from that marriage. And for me, where I came from, it was kind of troubling, right? My parents had been together, for at the time 30 plus years. That's all I've known. And never really intended to bring that aspect to my family, of really a broken family. I already had a daughter to wedlock, and in this case, in my marriage, I had another daughter. Now I have 2 broken daughters that, not really the cause for it. I didn't know how to handle it. I went to a place mentally and emotionally in not really understanding the whys and why I'm having to deal with this. Yeah, it was my choice, but every choice I've made up to that point, has worked out. At least I'm able to push through and figure out some pieces. I really went through a desperate place of, I'm gonna say, depression and loneliness and trying to figure out and not knowing whys. Which was, I had support, right? I had this family structure around me, and I was really trying to still kind of be normal, but on the inside, when you're trying to be normal, but you can't be on the inside, because it's just it's just too much for you to kind of even put up the front. So you end up withdrawing yourself from people. Ultimately, I just came to the point where, I wasn't able to hide it anymore. Literally was, nights crying in the shower, nights trying to figure out, why did I, bring these 2 little girls into the world and, set this stage for their life, right? And I really fully believe that, God was really just literally humbling me in a way that I haven't been humbled before. In every situation that I had been through, I've been able to really press through or have support and kind of really have an answer to. In this case, I wasn't able to have an answer to it. And then on top of that, right, I'm going through a divorce, and then I end up losing my job. And at this point, I'm asking God the whys, and I can't believe this. And it's this is horrible situation of life, and never planned it to be something of this way or this magnitude. And literally I had to just, ask God to help me and say, you know what, God, why would you do this to me in this time, in this season? What is all this for? And ultimately, he kind of pointed me in a direction of saying, you know what, Michael, this is a situation that, you know, I needed you to be humbled because there's something bigger and greater for you down the road. And this was the only way I was able to get your attention of you going through this. These are some of your choices, but these are some of my choices for you as well in order to get your attention to point in a different direction. So I ended up having to move to California, moving away from family, kind of starting a whole new realm of life with my older daughter and myself. And it was just a real unique experience of like me getting closer to God and me really finding out who God wants me to be. You know what? Some people are going through things that, you know what, they may not know why, they can't figure it out. You know, and I would challenge them to think about it and maybe, you know, question, say, hey, you know what? Maybe this piece is part of something that's bigger than maybe this moment. Maybe some of the things I'm dealing with and seeing and having, trying to discover is really God pushing me to that new place, not me just free falling to it. And ultimately, right, we want to be able to really just walk in the full purpose of God and in the full purpose of where he wants us to be and where he's designing us to go to.